Good morning, my brothers and sisters. Welcome to episode 22 of the book of Acts. We're going to have a journey into the Old Testament, one of my favorite things to do, because yesterday we heard the story of a lame beggar who was healed by Peter. And this is what happened to him. Peter says, I have no silver or gold, but what I do have I give to you. In the name of Jesus Christ of Nazareth, rise up and walk. And he took him by the right hand, very detailed, and raised him up, and immediately his feet and ankles were made strong. So we talked about that you need strong bones and strong muscles to support yourself after you get a neurological healing. And then this part, and leaping up, he stood and began to walk and entered the temple with them, walking and leaping and praising God. So we have this leaping that happens, which is going to send us back into the Old Testament. So let's just talk about this word leaping. This is from Acts chapter 3, verse 8, which is our official verse of today. This word leaping in the Greek is the only time in the whole Bible that this word is used. It's a very unique word. And the Bible is full of like yarns of thread that connect one verse, one concept to another verse, either in the New Testament or in the Old Testament. So this one has no other attachments in the New Testament because it's not mentioned, this leaping idea. It's not a fancy word. It just means jumping up, leaping up. But it refers back, I think, to Isaiah chapter 35. Now that is, the tone of that chapter in Isaiah is similar. It's about the return of the Lord. It's about gladness and rejoicing and people responding to the here is the Lord concept. And there it says, I'm going to read just one verse, Isaiah 35 verse 6. Then shall the lame man, get this, leap like a deer, and the tongue of the mute sing for joy. So it refers to a moment in time where the Lord is returning and people are responding. And one of the things they're doing is lame people are leaping, which is literally what happens in Acts chapter 3. So it's about the coming of the Lord and our response. It's certainly about, Isaiah is about multiple times. This is certainly about the Exodus and the return of the people. That would be past tense for them. It's certainly about the return of the Lord in the second coming, sort of the big final return of the Lord. But I think a couple things in the passage of Acts pretty strongly cement us to this passage in Isaiah. So two big things specifically. One is the strengthening of feeble knees. So in the passage in Acts, it says that before he starts leaping, the bones and the muscles are strengthened. And in Isaiah 35, just before that verse I read you, it says, strengthen the weak hands and make firm the feeble knees. And then a couple verses later, then they say they start leaping around. So I love that. It's a weaker argument. The stronger argument is just the uniqueness of this word, both in the Old Testament. It's only mentioned a couple times in the Old Testament about a man leaping over a wall, or my lover leaps over the fields or whatever to greet me. But then this is the only sort of prophetic lame leaping that ever happens. And it's a picture of what we should be doing, are weak and weary and healed, waiting people, and then God has left the planet, and then he returns to the planet, and he manifests himself in a certain way. And this is the first time Peter has this amazing miracle, sort of. It's knucklehead fishermen and tax collectors and almost ne'er-do-wells, and the Lord has empowered them with these miracles. So notice the promise that I think from Isaiah is now fulfilled in this man in Isaiah. It's so rare in the New Testament. It's actually unique in the New Testament. It's even rare in the Old Testament. And I think this is the concept that connects them. It's a moment where people are surprised by the presence of God, and they're so like ambushed by lamelessness. They're ambushed by lamelessness. They're ambushed by joy and ambushed by the strengthening. And I think here in Isaiah, this passage is where the fall is being unwound and creation is ungrowing and death is being pushed back. And a slightly absent God is making himself known, and the glory of the Lord is being seen. And that's really what we see in the book of Acts. The blind see, we've heard that before. The deaf hear, we've heard that before. But this is the only place in Acts and in Isaiah where the lame leap on strengthened legs. Let me read the passage from Isaiah. The wilderness and the dry land shall be glad. This is Isaiah 35. The desert shall rejoice and blossom like crocus. It shall blossom abundantly and rejoice with joy and singing. The glory of Lebanon shall be given to it, the majesty of Carmel and Sharon. They shall see the glory of God, the majesty of our God. Strengthen the weak hands and make firm the feeble knees. That's one of my favorite parts. Say to those who have an anxious heart, be strong, fear not. Behold your God. I will come with a vengeance, with the recompense. He will come and save you. And that's what we see in Isaiah. Verse 5, then the eyes, so this is Isaiah talking 600 years before Christ. Then the eyes of the blind shall be opened and the ears of the deaf unstopped. And then here it is, Isaiah 35:6. Then shall the lame man leap like a deer, and the tongue of the mute man sing for joy. For waters break forth in the wilderness and streams in the desert. And that's what we're seeing here. We see the lame leap on strengthened legs. We see Isaiah's prophecy true in the past, now true in the present here in Acts chapter 3. And we'll see it even in the future when he comes back again. So get ready, ladies and gentlemen, for that day for us, because we will be leaping on that day. From Acts 33, and he took him by the right hand and raised him up. And immediately his feet and ankles were strong. And leaping, he stood up and began to walk and entered the temple with them, walking and leaping and praising God. Thanks for listening. I'll see you tomorrow.